What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Pop the Top 5. Look, I need you to sit down for this one. Today, we're counting down 20 things your brain is doing right now, behind your back, without your permission. And by the time we get to number 1, you're going to look at yourself in the mirror a little differently. I promise you that. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we do this every single week. All right, let's get into it. 20. Your brain has already started dying and replacing itself before you finish listening to this right now. And I mean right now, while you're hearing my voice. Neurons in your brain are dying. And right now, new ones are being born. For the longest time, scientists told us we were stuck with whatever brain cells we came into the world with. Turns out that was dead wrong. Your brain is making fresh neurons your entire life. They call it neurogenesis. Exercise helps it happen. Stress kills it. Sleep lets it breathe. Depression chokes it out. Your brain is literally under construction 24 hours a day, tearing things down, building things up, based on what your life is throwing at it. And here's the part that should hit different. By the time I finish this sentence, your brain has already changed. You are not the same person you were 30 seconds ago. Not metaphorically, physically. The only question is, are you steering that renovation, or is it just happening to you? 19. You have enough electrical activity in your brain to power a light bulb. Your brain is putting out somewhere between 12 and 25 watts of electricity right now. That's enough to light up a small bulb. Think about that. 86 billion neurons firing off signals across 100 trillion connections. Every single second. Different states of mind put out different patterns. Beta waves when you're locked in, alpha when you're chilling, theta when you're drifting off, delta when you're deep asleep. And this thing never shuts off. Not when you sleep, not when you're in a coma. The only time your brain goes dark is when you die. You are walking around as a 3-pound electrical generator that you never have to plug in, never have to maintain, and never even have to think about. It just runs until it doesn't. 18. Your brain cannot tell the difference between what's real and what you imagine. This one messed me up. When you vividly picture something in your mind, your brain fires off almost the exact same neural pathways as if it were actually happening. Think about biting into a lemon right now. Your mouth just watered, didn't it? Picture a spider crawling up your arm. Your skin is tingling. Athletes who rehearse their moves in their head, just visualizing, not moving, they improve almost as much as the ones who physically practice. Your brain doesn't know the difference. That's why nightmares feel real. That's why anxiety about something that hasn't happened yet can make you physically sick. Your imagination and your reality are running on the same hardware. And there's no tag, no label, nothing telling your brain which one is which. 17. Your brain treats getting left out the same way it handles a threat on your life. When you get excluded, cut from the group, left on red, frozen out, your brain doesn't just feel sad. It hits the same alarm system it uses for physical danger. Fight or flight kicks in. Cortisol dumps into your bloodstream. The same circuits that activate when a predator is coming at you in the wild light up when someone gives you a dirty look in a meeting. And that's not a malfunction. For most of human history, getting kicked out of the tribe meant you were dead. Your brain never got the software update, so it still treats a sarcastic comment from your co-worker like a survival emergency. And that's why people will throw away what they actually believe just to stay in the group. Your brain would rather be wrong and included than right and alone. Sit with that one for a second. 16. Your brain recognizes a face faster than you can think. There's an area in your brain, the fusiform face area, and its only job is faces. That's it. And it's so fast that you can identify someone you know in under 1/10 of a second. Before your conscious mind even registers what it's looking at, this thing has already made the match. If it gets damaged, you get something called prosopagnosia. You can see perfectly fine, but you can't recognize anybody's face. Not your mother's, not your own in the mirror. Here's what gets me though. Babies, about less than an hour old, will track a face-shaped pattern over any other shape. They're not learning that. They came preloaded with that software. Your brain showed up on day one, already scanning for faces, building a database you never asked for and can't delete. 15. Deja vu is a glitch in your brain's reality software. You felt it. That eerie, skin-crawling moment where you'd swear on your life you've lived this exact moment before. Scientists think what's happening is your brain accidentally routes new information through the long-term memory pathway before it processes it through short-term. So a brand new experience shows up wearing the clothes of an old memory. Your brain goes, wait, I've been here before, but you haven't. Another theory says it's your brain's fact-checker, catching an error and flagging it. Either way, here's what should bother you. Deja vu might be the one time you actually catch your brain making a mistake, which makes you wonder how many other glitches are slipping past without you ever noticing. 14. Your brain is predicting the future right now. And it's usually right. Your brain is not reacting to the world. It's predicting it. Every second, it's running simulations about what's going to happen next and preloading your response. When you catch a ball, your brain already calculated where it was going to be and moved your hand there before it arrived. When you listen to a song, your brain predicts the next note, and the pleasure you feel is your prediction being right. When it's wrong, that's what surprise is. Your brain's model crashing into reality. Think about what that means. You don't experience the present moment. You experience what your brain thinks is about to happen, corrected in real time when it's wrong. You're living about half a second in the future at all times, and you had no idea. 13. Your brain physically rewires itself based on what you do every day. Every single thing you do, every skill you practice, every thought you repeat, every habit you build is physically changing the architecture of your brain. They call it neuroplasticity. Learn piano, and the motor cortex controlling your fingers literally expands. Go blind, and your visual cortex repurposes itself to handle sound and touch. London cab drivers who memorize every street in the city grow measurably larger hippocampi. Your brain is not a machine that stays the same. It's a living thing that reshapes itself on demand. And here's the part nobody wants to hear. It works the same way for the bad stuff. Every time you pick up your phone and scroll for that dopamine hit, you are physically wiring your brain to need more of it. You're not just killing time, you're remodeling the building. 12. You have an internal GPS, and it won a Nobel Prize. Inside your brain right now, there are specialized cells building a three-dimensional map of everywhere you've ever been. Place cells fire when you're in a specific location. Grid cells lay down a coordinate system. Head direction cells track which way you're facing. Border cells register walls and edges. Together, they make a full navigation system that runs without you thinking about it. And this discovery was so significant, it won the Nobel Prize in 2014. People who lose these cells get lost in their own homes. And London cab drivers, those same ones with the bigger hippocampi, their brains physically grew more navigation hardware because they used it more. Your brain builds what it needs, and it tears down what you stop using. Remember that. 11. Your brain can be tricked into thinking a rubber hand belongs to you. This experiment is one of the wildest things I've ever read. Researchers put a rubber hand on the table in front of someone and hid their real hand behind a screen. Then they stroked both hands with a brush at the same time. Within minutes, the person's brain adopted the rubber hand as its own. And when the researcher stabbed the fake hand with a fork, the person flinched. Stress hormones spiked. For a rubber hand they knew wasn't real. What this tells you is that your sense of owning your body isn't based on your actual body. It's based on a model your brain is building in real time. Change the inputs, and your brain will happily claim a rubber hand, a virtual avatar, whatever you put in front of it. Your body image is just another story, and the storyteller is not as reliable as you think. 10. Your brain burns more fuel than any other organ, and it never takes a break. 3 pounds. That's what your brain weighs. About 2% of your body, but it eats up 20% of everything you consume. It's the most expensive organ you own, and it never clocks out. Even in your sleep, it's burning through glucose and oxygen at a rate that would impress a sports car. And most of that energy, it's not going to your thoughts. The vast majority is spent on things you'll never be aware of. Heartbeat regulation, body temperature, processing sensory data from your surroundings, keeping you alive. The thoughts you're conscious of, the ones you think are you, they're a tiny sliver of what your brain is actually doing. You're paying the power bill for the whole building, but you only have the key to one room. 9. Your brain deletes memories while you sleep, and you don't get a vote. Every single night while you're out cold, your brain runs an editing session. It goes through everything from your day and decides, without consulting you, what gets kept and what gets permanently wiped. The criteria? Emotion and repetition. If something made you feel something strong, or you encountered it more than once, it's more likely to survive. Everything else gets tossed. This is why pulling an all-nighter before a test destroys you. Your brain never got to file anything away. And during REM sleep, it replays your memories at up to 20 times speed, strengthening some and dissolving others. Every morning you wake up, you are running on a slightly different brain than the one you fell asleep with. And you never even knew the edit happened. 8. You have a second brain in your stomach, and it might be running the show. 500 million neurons. That's what's lining your gut right now. More than your entire spinal cord. Scientists call it the enteric nervous system, and it runs almost entirely on its own, separate from the brain in your skull. And here's the kicker. It produces over 90% of your body's serotonin. That's the chemical most responsible for your mood. That gut feeling before a big decision? That's not a figure of speech. Your stomach brain is processing information and sending it up to your head brain through the vagus nerve. People with gut problems have way higher rates of anxiety and depression, Not because feeling sick makes them sad, but because their gut brain is directly messing with their chemistry. You've got two brains, and the one you never think about might be calling more shots than the one you do. 7. Chronic stress physically shrinks your brain. This one's not a metaphor. When you're stressed for too long, the cortisol flooding your system actually shrinks the prefrontal cortex. That's the part handling your memory, your decisions, your self-control. At the same time, it beefs up the amygdala, which makes you even more reactive to stress. So you end up in a loop. The more stressed you are, the worse your brain gets at dealing with stress, which makes you more stressed. Researchers measured this. People under chronic stress had less gray matter. Their brains were literally smaller in the areas that matter most. Your brain is remodeling itself based on your emotional state. And if that state is constant anxiety, it's building itself a panic room and tearing down everything else. 6. You only see what your brain decides to show you. The 11 million bits of information hit your senses every single second. You're consciously aware of about 40. Your brain is filtering out almost everything and curating a highlight reel for you. And you have zero say in what makes the cut. This is why you can stare directly at something and not see it. They call it inattentional blindness. In the most famous experiment, people watched a basketball game and completely missed a person in a gorilla suit walking through the middle of the court. Their eyes saw it. Their brain deleted it because it decided the gorilla didn't matter. You are not seeing reality. You are seeing a version of reality your brain put together for you, without asking, without telling you what it left out. Social rejection runs on the same hardware as physical pain. When someone breaks your heart and you say it hurts, you're not being dramatic. You're being accurate. Social rejection lights up the same brain regions as physical injury. The anterior cingulate cortex, the anterior insula. Same circuits for a broken arm and a broken relationship. And here's what really got me. Researchers found that taking a common over-the-counter painkiller actually reduced the emotional sting of being rejected. Your heartbreak and your headache are running on the same wiring. Your brain evolved this way because for most of human existence, being cut off from your people was a death sentence. The brain never updated that code, so a breakup text in 2026 hits the same alarm as exile from the tribe 10,000 years ago. 4. There is a hole in your vision right now, and your brain is just making something up right now. There is a gap in what you can see. A blind spot where your optic nerve plugs into your retina. It picks up nothing. No light, no color, zero information. You've never noticed it because your brain fills it in with whatever it guesses should be there. It's been doing this your entire life. Every waking moment, your brain is fabricating a piece of your visual reality and slipping it in without telling you. And that's just the start. It edits out your nose from your field of vision. It smooths over the blur every time your eyes move. It stitches together two slightly different images from your left and right eye into one seamless picture. What you see is not the world. It's your brain's best guess. And you've been trusting that guess without question since the day you were born. 3. Multitasking is a lie your brain told you. And you believed it. If you think you're good at multitasking, I have bad news. You're not. Nobody is. What your brain actually does is rapidly switch between tasks, and every single switch costs you speed, accuracy, and energy. Studies showed that people who think they're great multitaskers perform worse on every single task than people who just focused on one thing. And the people who rated themselves as the best at it, they scored the lowest. Your brain is burning fuel just to manage the switching, and while it's doing that, it's dropping the quality on everything. That feeling of being productive when you're juggling 5 things, that's your brain lying to you. Again, while it quietly fumbles all of them. 2. Your memories are not real. They're stories you keep rewriting every time you remember something. Your brain doesn't play back a recording. It rebuilds the memory from scratch. And every single time it rebuilds it, it changes. Scientists call this reconsolidation. And what it means is devastating. The memories you revisit the most, the ones you cherish, the ones you'd swear are burned into your mind exactly as they happened. Those are probably the least accurate ones you have, because you've rebuilt them the most times. Researchers have even implanted completely false memories into people, events that never happened. And those people will argue with you, genuinely, emotionally argue, that they remember it clearly. Your past is not a record. It's a story. And your brain rewrites it every single time you open the book. 1. You don't make decisions. Your brain decides, then tells you a story about why here it is. Number 1. And if this doesn't shake something loose in you, nothing will. Scientists can predict what you're going to choose up to 10 seconds before you're aware you've made a decision. 10 seconds. Your brain has already decided. And then it feeds you the experience of deliberating, weighing options, making a conscious choice. That whole process you feel? That's theater. Your brain's PR department writing a press release after the decision already went through. And it gets darker. In split-brain studies, when one half of the brain does something the other half can't explain, it doesn't freeze up. It doesn't admit. It doesn't know. It invents a reason. Immediately, confidently, and believes it completely. You are not the one driving. You never were. You're the passenger, writing the flight log after the plane already landed, fully convinced you were the pilot the whole time. And that's our top 20. Look, I told you this one was going to hit different. Everything you think you know about being in control, about seeing clearly, about remembering accurately, your brain has been running its own program this whole time. And it's real good at making you think you're the one in charge. If that messed with your head even a little bit, do me a favor, hit that like button, drop a comment telling me which one got you, and subscribe if you haven't already. We'll see you on the next one. Stay curious. And maybe don't trust your brain too much.